when I first went to live in the States for university, I was like so traumatized by American blacks. Like American black people are so much different than the rest of the world black people because they have their own thing. And it's like I was like 19 and I was gonna go to university in the States, and I went to live in New York and stuff. And I was like, I went to NYU for my first semester because I had to do some certain courses and stuff, and it was like an entry course. And I made friends with guys from like Brooklyn to South Bronx, and it's like, I sound like I spoke properly. I sound like a white guy to them, right? And it's like a certain dialect. I mean, part of my family is Jamaican, so I knew that dialect. But I was in the American atmosphere and American black kids and stuff, and I was like, it was so traumatizing how comfortable these guys were with certain friggin' crazy situations. Like we'd be in a nightclub in South Bronx and I see someone get stabbed in the neck, and it's like, damn. And I'm like almost ready to need therapy after seeing, you know what I mean? Like I came from a little town, like that
was pre-internet.
Toronto's not a little, well, compared to New York, Toronto's a little town, but I came from friggin' Canadian city, regular suburban dude. You know what I mean?
You got those Canadian sensibilities, and it wasn't.
I really do. And and I was like, I remember this one thing that messed me up was we had a movie night and we went to a screening of Menace to Society, and I don't know if you guys seen that movie, but street kid movie type of thing and everything, and I was fucked up, excuse my language on the show, but I was like, is it, one of the drive-by scenes? And I was like, you know what I mean? You see stuff like this, I saw Colors like before that. That was like the first time you really saw this stuff in Canada and everything. And then I'm watching this drive-by scene, and then half the guys around me are laughing at the scene because how the guy died when he fell. You know what I mean? And I'm like here, like, you know what I mean? I'm trying. I don't want to look like a complete pussy, but at the same time, I was like, oh my gosh, you just killed that guy for no fucking reason. You know what I mean?
Did you say that? Did you go, oh my gosh?
Yeah, I almost did. I almost did a full-on
whiz.
But
golly willikers, this is
goodness gracious. It's bad enough I don't curse. You know what I mean? It's like, damn. But it was like, and these guys were like just so accustomed to seeing stuff like that, and I was, it's changed my life. I'm glad I did it, and living in the States was a whole different thing. But it's like, then you realize how different the two countries really are, bro. It's like such, and a lot of Americans don't know. Like, it's funny because Americans don't know anything about Canada, but Canadians know everything about America because we get all the TV shows and channels in like Toronto and along the border and all that stuff, right? But at the same time, when I lived in the States, I lived in the States for like 10 years, I completely forgot what was going on in Canada. I didn't even know, after a certain amount of time, I didn't know who the prime minister was. I didn't know anything was going on with politics. I forgot. I forgot. I was studying Canadian law. I was in the States. I was studying international commerce, and I was studying law, constitutional law. And I was like, I even to this day, I know more about American stuff than I do Canadian stuff, which is weird. But you can understand.
In any of our media, it's not taught in schools.
Nothing.
It's not learned about on TV, and none of your TV shows make it to us.
Very few.
Degrassi.
Trailer Park Boys was
Hunger
my
Green.
first.
SCTV. You guys probably saw. Did you guys watch SCTV at all? No.
It sounds
What's
familiar,
on?
but I don't recall.
I don't know.
That's where Martin Short came from, and John Candy and those guys
boycotting American products now. Reddit would have me believe that they're doing that really.
Yeah, they are.
It's true.
You can go to like a lot of the stores, and you'll see little Canadian flags beside certain products, and it's like. But I know it sounds silly because there's so few Canadians.
The American ones were like fully stocked, and all the other ones were empty.
Yeah, it's kind of happening right now. It's kind of weird. And it's like it's funny because I have dual citizenship, right? So it's like I can benefit. Plus I have businesses in the States, and I make more money in the States than I do Canada. So I'm across the border like every week, literally.
You play both sides to always come out on top.
But I we chose when I was getting married at the time. Funny story. I was with my soon-to-be wife back in 94, 95. And I remember we were walking on the street and we were judging. I had a nice offer from Chase Manhattan for a good position when I graduated from university. And she was working for a pharmaceutical firm up in Canada. And we were trying to decide if we get married, where we wanted to bring up kids and start a family and stuff. And we were weighing the pros and cons between, the health benefits and all this stuff and the more money in the States. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then as we're walking by, someone drives by us and goes, "Hey, you fucking N lover," to my wife, who was white. And then she goes, "Well, I guess that solves that argument." And we even told that story at our wedding. It's like there's such an American thing, but it's like, damn, it's such in two different.
That guy didn't know
countries.
you were Canadian.
Sorry? Yeah, right? Jeez. How dare he? But
yeah, he would have known if you would have turned and been like, "Well, son of a gun."
It's like, even though the two countries are so close, it's like two opposite coins, two opposite sides of the coin. Like it's so crazy. It's like whenever I cross, and I love both countries. I really love the States and I love Canada. But when I cross it, as soon as I cross that border, my situational awareness like goes from here to here. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what it is? It's like some sports teams. You're always in the hunt for the championship, like every year, and you take it real seriously. So, like your team loses, it's a big deal. You win, riding high, and some teams, they're in the back of the pack. They're never going to be champs, so they don't take the game too seriously. That's what Canada is.
But we don't. Mm-hmm. But the funny thing is, though, we feel sorry for Americans, though. Like, and it sounds weird, but we feel bad for Americans. Like all the guns and the crime and the hatred and the this and then that. Like, I can't remember which British guy said it, but he said being in Canada must be like living in the apartment building up above the crackheads. You know what I mean? And that sounds evil and mean, but it's like it's like when we're here, it's like you watch American politics like it's the Jerry Springer show.
Yeah, we do that
because it's so much more civilized up here, if it makes any sense. You know what I mean?
Like every Canadian I know, like you ask them anything about Canadian politics, which doesn't get brought up much because no one really cares. But they'll be like, "So what's your guys' system? Is there like term limits? Do you got a prime minister? What else is?" And they're like, "Oh, no, not a clue. No idea. I know how you guys' system works because that's that's kind of
we
the
see
more
it so much.
one.
It's on every TV show.
I'll tell you about the House of Burgesses. They'll come up with
Jesus.
They'll come up with some third grade civics shit, social studies shit on you. It's so prominent. But it's not. It doesn't go both ways. Same with Mexico, though. It's not like Mexico's exporting their culture very well outside of tacos.
I have no idea how their politics works, but apparently before their most recent presidential election, didn't like literally dozens of people get assassinated going for different positions? Like it was
no idea.
It was a crazy amount of
at this point it's propaganda. So I have no idea.
I don't even know. I love our politics. I love the way it is. I like that you don't have to be some uptight, hoity-toity kind of buttoned up kind of guy to get into politics. I like that we've got like race car drivers in politics too. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Arnold Schwarzenegger was a freaking governor, right? So, governor?
This is from recent. This is from like 7-8 months ago. Mexico City, May 31st. Mexico's election is now the bloodiest in its modern history after a candidate running for local office in central Puebla state was murdered on Friday at a political rally, taking the number of assassinated candidates to 37 ahead of Sunday's vote.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump up those numbers.
It seems like they're the Yankees of this, Woody. I don't think you're giving them enough credit. They're loving us.
Yeah, but and again, up here we see you guys like one level above Mexico. Oh, it's the apocalypse up here in Canada.
Apocalypse.
It's
51st
state issues. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
What are you talking about? You guys won the championship match of the Four Nations tournament. I would think everything's looking up.
No, honestly, everything's cool. It's actually an election here right now for premier and all this stuff. So they're
Is it a
it's kind of
lot?
crazy.
So Trudeau like pulled out. He's gone, right? He's not going to be the next.
Well,
guy.
he's still prime minister technically. He's just not going to rerun next term, but they're kind of trying to find a replacement type of scenario.
So I don't know how Canadian politics work very much, but my understanding is that the Conservative Party was ready for a tidal wave win. What do they call it? Not a landmine.
Landslide.
Landslide. I couldn't get off landmine, and I knew it was wrong. Landslide is an Thank you so much. So the Conservatives were all set up for a landslide win, a changing of the guards, and then with the tariff talk, the Conservatives look less popular. What are you seeing?
Essentially they pulled a Biden okie doke. So the Pierre Poilievre on the Conservative side, he was looking good. Like he had like 70% advantage with Trudeau doing things so badly, right? And so when Trudeau pulled out and the next guy was getting ready to go, all of a sudden it completely reversed because the next guy looked a lot more sturdy than Trudeau did. And then when Trump started talking about tariffs and all this stuff, everyone started getting back behind Trudeau again. So it's like the liberals are like feeling themselves right now again, right? So
is Trudeau not running again because he's out?
Trudeau
he's still out of terms.
He's still technically prime minister, but he said he's not going to run again, and he's staying in power until they get a replacement for the Liberal Party.
Could he run again, or is it like he's done it twice or something and he's out?
I'm honestly not sure about that thing. I'm actually more in depth when it comes to politics and Canadian because that's where I went to school. But
it's too late for him to run now.
He's not going to run anymore. He's done.
Even if he tried. Now, don't you guys have an election date set?
Well, there's I guess you would call it like a state, or there's a provincial election today, but that's not federal. So it's like it would be like finding state representatives as opposed to full-on federal election today. So that's what they're trying to do today.
Most you guys countries don't have like a 3 or 4 year running period like we do. So I'm like, how do you decide in a mere 6 weeks who you like?
It's complicated. It's weird. You have the two different parties, and it's like I said, I know more about American politics than I do what's up here. But again, I pay more in American taxes because I have more businesses in America than they do Canada. So I'm kind of weird. So I'm like, I play both sides.
Are you guys like America that you only have two parties, or are you like Europe where there's
there's like 4 parties here, but there's 3 powerful ones. So who's the Liberals, you have the NDP, and you have the Conservatives.
Who is the fucking losers? Who's the loser party that has nobody?
The Green Party.
The Green Party?
Close.
Yeah. What do they want? What does the Green Party want? Why are they getting trounced so bad?
They're just like an entry level party, and they're like the environment and hippie and this type of thing, and they have like 3 seats in a house of 300 people or something like that. So
it'd be like our libertarians.
Oh, okay.
They sometimes win a thing or two, but
really
not one of the majors.
That's the best place to be as the politician. Is you're like, guys, this is rough, and I'm definitely going to work hard to fix it. And meanwhile, you're just gaming, you're just doing whatever you want because you have no.
I don't know why parties want to be in power. It's so much better to not be. Oh, is there a measles outbreak? Not my fault.
Dude, it's the backup
clearly RFK, who's had this job for 9 days, is to blame for the measles outbreak.
Dude, it's like being a backup goalie or a backup quarterback. Like, you still get all the prestige for the most part, but you don't have to worry about anything. Like being Tom Brady's back. Who did Tom Brady have a consistent backup when he was killing it for so many years? Because that's the best job of all time.
Just sit back and ride.
I know would have been Brett Favre's backup, right? Didn't he play in like every game for 12 years in a row or something?
Aaron Rodgers wasn't Aaron Rodgers his backup?
I have no idea.
Maybe at the end, I don't know. But Brett Favre was known for never missing a game.
I don't watch much sports, unfortunately.
You didn't even watch your Great Nations team play in the Four Nations thing?
I was trying to beat up Ninja Turtles in Call of Duty. I was like,